Alright folks, so gonna do something a little different here. Got a collection update. Want to talk about some stuff that I listened to during that long hiatus when I got sucked into Elden Ring. But I thought I'd do that while I played some Elden Ring. I think, having a soundtrack to whatever your mode of escapism is, whether it's, Dungeons and Dragons or reading fiction or playing video games, something to be discussed, for those of you who aren't familiar with this game, I'll rattle on about it a little bit in just a minute. It's a very dark fantasy game, so it pairs really well with extreme metal. I'm just waiting for this to boot up here. I am dicking around with OBS, kind of checking out what I can do with it. I've toyed with the idea of doing some streaming stuff here and there. Kind of requires commitment, which I'm not really feeling right now. So who knows? It could be fun. If I got a lot of engagement with it, maybe I'd do it. Let's see if this... No. Game capture is not working. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, let's talk about Elden Ring. Let's talk about how I lost about 2.5 months of my life to this thing. As you can see, this is a beautiful game. It broke all kinds of records with how much it sold the first couple of months it was out. For those of you that are uninitiated with or unfamiliar with this sort of video game, if you're a boomer like myself that did not know that much about this sort of thing, this is an open world role-playing game. I played a few of these. I played Elder Scrolls a couple of years ago and really liked it. But what is appealing about this particular game is it does a lot of showing and not telling as far as the concepts and the lore and even the plot of what's going on. You just kind of come across different warring clans and stuff like that, and different creatures, and you can learn a lot about the game just by reading artifact descriptions when you pick stuff up off felled enemies and the like, which is really cool. What's also kind of nice about it is if you don't care about that stuff at all, you don't have to really pay attention to it. You're given sort of a loose idea of where you're supposed to go, and you can kind of just explore from there. The gameplay itself is notoriously difficult. It's made by FromSoft, which is the company that brought us the Souls games. Excuse me. This bang went down the wrong pipe. Ayo. The Souls games... Again, if you're not familiar with those, if you, like myself, have been living under a rock and didn't really keep up with modern video games since, PlayStation 1, like I did, the Souls games include Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, etc., and they're just known for being really hard. You have to actually be good at video games and have your timing down and stuff like that. Let's summon my little horse here. Also, very dark fantasy with all those. I haven't played Bloodborne, but I know it's kind of more like Lovecraftian. I think kind of steampunk a little bit. But I tried Dark Souls 1. I'm going to pick it up again at some point because I was kind of getting into it. A few years ago, right when it came out, I tried Dark Souls 3, and I kept dying at the tutorial and decided it wasn't for me. But what got me hooked about this game is that it kind of... brought back memories of when I was really young, back in the Paleolithic era, and I was playing games like Mega Man 3 where you just had to keep trying your timing and just timing stuff perfectly. And there's kind of an addictive nature to that if you get hooked into that sort of thing. Some people just give up, but when you actually succeed at one of these tasks after trying it a bazillion times, it's the kind of adrenaline rush and endorphins and stuff that kind of fire off in your brain when you finally defeat an enemy or whatever it is really rewarding. So that's kind of what sucked me into this game. That and the beautiful imagery. I mean, I'll fast travel to another area. Let's see. Let's go to Caelid, because it looks like a Dan Seagrave album cover brought to life. Let's go to the Caelid Ruins. If these landscapes were bluish instead of reddish, it would look like Edge of Sanity's Spectral Sorrows. this landscape here. So yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking about dark fantasy if you know me or know this channel, I'm a big D&D nerd. I love all types of fantasy stuff and horror, so this is perfect for me. And that's what I've been doing up until I got to work on that early 90s Thrash video. Oh, there's a thing. See, this is... I gotta respect, like, people that play video games, you know, for a living on YouTube or Twitch. Because talking right now and trying to dodge this shit is not easy. I'm just gonna kind of... Can I just run away? I'm just gonna run away. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Let's go. But I wanted to talk about my soundtrack to this. One thing that's kind of nice about this game and getting sucked into it, I still have the same pile of CDs in my 5 CD changer that I just had on constant rotation. And it was kind of nice because it gave me an opportunity to really sit with albums, which is something I don't do nearly as much as I should. You know, I do like having physical products to have and own and support the bands. I've talked about that plenty of times. I only listen to things like a handful of times often. I don't give albums and EPs and releases in general the attention they deserve a lot of the time. You know, you just get caught up in that collector scum, got to hear the new thing and get the new thing kind of deal. And this actually gave me an opportunity to really, really sit down with some stuff and just listen to it on repeat and play this game for hours on end. Like on a few days off, I think I played this for like 6 or 7 hours, something crazy like that. So I want to talk about some of the stuff that I listen to a lot. So let's get off our high horse here. Heyo. Talk about some of the shit that I listened to. Quite a while ago, I received a parcel from my buddy Mario down in Costa Rica. He runs the Blazing Obscurity record label and the Journey into Fear radio show. I've talked about that a bunch of times. Check that out. I'll leave a link for both. Great radio show, plays a good variety of metal, occasionally some pretty good interviews, and he has just kind of reinvigorated his label and put out some really good cassettes. As far as I know, all these bands are Costa Rican. If I need to correct that, I will. Oh, there comes a thing. Oh, God. I hate this guy. Larry, I told you I'll give you your $4 later. Trying to talk about Repulsive Death. Alright. Here's a Repulsive Death right there. Repulsive Death. I had another release or two from Mario from this band. Costa Rican band, Real Filthy. It's what's playing in the background right now. It's real gross. Kind of gives early Autopsy a run for its money in terms of just oral or sonic grossness. Just filthy. You know, basically some thrash-based riffs with a little bit of trem picking, but real vomity. You get those, like, early-style death metal vocals that are almost kind of whispering. They're real creepy. You know, it's got really shadowy, lo-fi production. Awesome. I also got into this one, Putrefiance, Resurrected Malevolence. This is similarly kind of raw, but it's not as much, and it's a bit more, almost kind of crust inspired. There's a little bit more of that 1-2-1-2 kind of D-beat stuff going on with it. That's really good, you know, for fans of Repulsion, also early Autopsy, I'd say. I'm going to show off these two and then play the game because my guy's just kind of standing there. I'm winging this. I don't know if this is a good idea or not, the whole concept of this video, but I wanted to try something different. Goatrider. This is for those of you that like your black thrash with some rock and roll in it. You know, very Venom, early Bathory, kind of Motorhead-inspired stuff. High Speed from Hell. And finally, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Longbarrow. Yeah, Longbarrow. Veneration Rites. Death Doom. Not all-out kind of peaceful kind of stuff, nor is it like really, really raw, stripped-down kind of winter sort of thing either. It has its kind of more like downplayed moments, like kind of more somber moments, but it's also just a straight heavy dirge a lot of the time. It's really good. Alright, so I listen to those a lot. The ones that I had on repeat in my CD player, I'm going to pick up the controller again in a second here. I got this new Immolation. This is the best one they've done in quite a while. Acts of God came out this year on Nuclear Blast. Let's fight some monsters and talk about it. You know, I don't think... I'm of the opinion that Immolation hasn't put out a bad record really ever. They have some that kind of I find more engaging than others. Here and After is the gold standard for me. Dawn of Possession, of course, was kind of groundbreaking, but I still feel like they were getting their footing at the time. They were kind of like New York dudes, kind of like sort of worshiping Morbid Angel, in my opinion. Here and After, they really kind of created their own sound, and then everything they did afterwards were kind of like permutations of it that either got a little bit more outer dimensional and weird, or maybe a little bit more straightforward, depending on the record. Acts of God is probably their best one since Here and After, in my opinion, in terms of how it appeals to me. I like the last one. I like really most of the records they've done, like I said, but this one just has those riffs, and they stick in you. They're still like weird and kind of like cosmic and strange, you know. It's got that sort of playing through a dimensional portal kind of thing. It feels like they're playing backwards sometimes, you know, that really, really strange, almost like Lovecraftian thing. But they've just upped the catchy factor, and it's rad. Then we have this Rapture, and you know, I didn't look up where this band was from, so I have no idea what country or wherever they hail from. This is really brutal technical thrash with some death metal vocals thrown in. Malevolent Demise Incarnation. It's on a ton of labels, one of which is called Soul Food, FDA Records. Yeah, I just picked this up on a whim because I like the album art. It looked like something I would dig, and lo and behold, I do. You know, if you're into stuff like Solstice, that just kind of Florida death metal, kind of just coming over from thrash metal kind of thing. You know, it's been talked about extensively on this channel. Brutal thrash, death thrash, everything from Insanity to Solstice to even like early Malevolent Creation. That kind of shit. That's pretty much what this Rapture is like. It's no mistake that they're called Rapture. There's a little bit of early Morbid Angel in there, but it's still kind of thrash. Very, very good record. Then we got this Stargazer, latest Stargazer, come out. I think it just came out last year. Psychic Secretions. I'm always impressed by this band. It was interesting, the riffs on this, I was like, I know they share members with Sacrifix, who I would love for them to come out with another record. Just all these kind of incestuous, awesome Australian bands. And, you know, Stargazer definitely has sort of that, like, ethereal, cosmic kind of death metal thing going on. But I could hear something, there's just something in the way that the riffs are crafted. It must be the same guitarist, I'm not sure. It's got this certain kind of melodic catchiness to it. It's sort of epic thing going on. Even though the riffs are really twisted and it's really progressive in a way, like just in terms of the complexity of the riffs, it's all strung together in a very catchy, honest, like straightforward kind of framework, which I think is rad. Let's find some more stuff to kill here. Shamda's Father Befouled a lot. Well, killing enemies in this, crowned in, I'll give it a shot here, crowned in Veneficum. Justin has been at this for quite some time. Decade and a half, at least, I want to say. I know when I started kind of getting back into underground metal, which was mid-2000s, he was already at it with this band, going back to the split with Hellcarax and all that stuff. Early on, as you probably know if you follow underground DM, Father Befouled kind of got pigeonholed as incantation worship. Definitely a strong influence, you know, at that time. I think some of the basic framework is still there in terms of like the guitar tone kind of, and like the vocal approach and that sort of thing, and the riffs kind of being, you know, twisted and weird and all that. But they've really kind of strayed away from that, kind of created their own niche, something that they can call their own. And the riffs themselves are a lot catchier than they used to be, or at least that's the way it feels to me, while retaining that like kind of brutal, evil atmosphere. Erdtree Gazing Hill? Let's go to... You know what's fun? I like going to this place, because this is like... I'm way powered up for this area. This is like one of the first areas you go to in the game here. gate front. Because right here you can just like kill a giant and then a bunch of dudes and then go back and kill a giant again. It's really fun when you're... I think I'm level 130. What am I? Hold on. Status. Level 139, yeah, so it's ridiculous. It's like I'm basically a demigod at this stage. Yeah, these stages are beautiful. This area is a lot more like traditional high fantasy. You know, you could say this is more of a power metal or traditional Doom kind of stage. If you want to go by genre or something, if you want to get really dorky about it. But it's fun. This is a good area to practice, just like sneaking around. Because they have that whole Assassin's Creed kind of thing where you can sneak up to people and backstab them and stuff. Real thief style. Cool. Let's see, what else did I listen to? Disintegrator, Carbon Shadow. Sorry about the glare. It's going to be tough, like, balancing out, like, making sure I don't blind you with glare and assassinating fools. This is a cool tape. Absolute Contempt Records. Don't know too much about this band, to be honest, but it's just great, straightforward, kind of grindcore, really. A little bit of a death metal edge to it, you know. Kind of crusty grind stuff. Reminds me of the more, like, metallic Destroy from Minneapolis and Repulsion and early Brutal Truth, that kind of stuff. Super abrasive guitar tone, but it doesn't really have that sandpapery, everything's kind of redline production so much that a lot of modern grindcore bands have had since, like, I don't know, Nasm came out with Inhale Exhale, and that kind of relapse thing, you know? It's like never really appealed to me. Nails had that a lot. This has that kind of production a little bit, but it's a lot more like dialed back. You can actually, you know, process the music in your brain without your ears bleeding. That makes me just kind of sound like a wuss, I guess, but whatever. Alright, so let's sneak up and kill some dudes here. Hey, buddy. Hey. It's a real nice back you got there. It'd be a shame if somebody didn't... Yeah, good fun. Obviously, this is very gory. Been meaning to talk about this for a while. Yeah, been talking to one of these guys from Vaticinal Rites. This is a British band on Caligari. Great death metal. Not unlike Conjureth, they kind of have a good, like, straightforward, kind of traditional death metal sound that is hard to place, which is always good. You know, like, they're not going for a specific region or band worship or anything. But you can tell, like, there's a tasteful kind of heavy metal influence and thrash influence. There's a couple good, like, just kind of more thrash than death metal riffs thrown in there. And it's very heavy, you know, kind of cavernous death metal with some thrash riffs. It's a little bit different if it's brutal thrash or more Floridian stuff, you know. Oh, and here we go. I'm sure this is going to be on a lot of people's year-end lists. Album of the year for countless folks, I'm sure. The new Undeath. It's Time to Rise from the Grave. On, what does it come out on? Prosthetic? Yeah, Prosthetic. Putting out some pretty good stuff lately. Rochester Boys. I'll open up this one. We'll crack this open. My dude's just going to chill there. He's going to take a breather. That J card there. This is one of those records where I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to get this on vinyl too. Just really well written death metal. I mean, they always had sort of like a catchier side of Cannibal Corpse thing, like on their earlier records, along with like maybe a little bit of Scandinavian grind and like a touch of that atheist cynic like noodly bass. And they've really just kind of melded all that really well, in my opinion, on this new one from Undeath. It's got some really headbanging, catchy stuff on it. The music video they did was really cool. I think this is awesome. No doubt, like, they're young and they have really memorable riffs and stuff. I'm sure they're getting called out as, like, falses by gatekeepers probably already, which, of course, is cringy as fuck. Then some hardcore. This Capitalist Casualties, Chaos and Teos. 2011, one of the years I didn't make it to that fest, unfortunately. And now, sadly, two of the members of Cap-Caz are no longer with us. If you're more of a metal person and you're not familiar with Capitalist Casualties, might be a hardcore band worth your time if you like the fundamental early hardcore bands that influenced a lot of extreme music, like early DRI and that sort of stuff, or Siege maybe. Capcaz are kind of a second generation, very fast hardcore band. They've been pigeonholed as power violence, fastcore, that sort of stuff. There's a lot of blast beats involved. Very, 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 very pummeling fast, blast beat driven hardcore punk, super negative and dark. Just a lot of stuff about how basically we're living in late capitalism and society is crumbling. That kind of fun stuff. A lot of stuff about struggling with addiction and that type of shit. The power violence scene of Southern California in the late 80s throughout the 90s was pretty bleak lyrically. Not a lot of posy stuff going on there. Maybe Infest a little bit had that going on, but yeah, Capcaz were great, and this is a fantastic, fantastic live recording. It's so good. Super raw, but they're really, really tight on it. They sound great, and I can't recommend pretty much their whole discography more. You know, it's really, really good. It's fantastic stuff. Also recommended for that kind of stuff, of course, is Drop Dead, band in a similar vein. Pretty much any of the bands from that scene, I think, you know, maybe if you're a younger person getting more into extreme metal, like, check out some No Comment and stuff like that. Some newer bands like Sex Prisoner, Regional Justice Center, that kind of shit. Shifting gears to some thrash, some straightforward thrash. Missing my 90s thrash thing, early 90s thrash video by a year. We have Faith or Fear, Punishment Area. Sorry about that glare, folks. Faith or Fear, Punishment Area. Philly area thrash metal band that was on The Ultimate Revenge 2. I had that VHS. It features, let's see, these guys, Dark Angel, Death, Forbidden, and I'm forgetting one more. But all the other bands on that video I'd heard of. I did not know Faith or Fear at all. One of those bands that you see their stuff around, it's actually pretty cheap still. I think that tape was $10 or under. And it's good. It's solid, competent, kind of Bay Area-y thrash, Bay Area-esque thrash. Fairly, you know, clean vocals. Not super, like, falsetto style either. Kind of mid-range. Relatively choppy, fast kind of riffing, you know. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but pretty well executed. Alright, so these guys just blew their horn. So, let's see. Oh. Well, it's really hard for them to kill me at this stage, so let's see what I can do here. Don't have any cool weapons. Well, I do. This weapon's really cool, but it only takes out 1% of the time. Blood attack! Blood attack! Blood! Blood! Yeah, actually, the name of this sword is Rivers of Blood, which is also a dope song by the Troycore band Stigmata, if I'm remembering right. But one of the cool things about this game, you have all these different ways to skin a cat. Really, really difficult enemies. Like I said, you know, you actually have to be able to dodge their attacks for real. And one of the things you can build up all these kind of weaknesses on people, like continual fire damage, continual bleed damage. So if you keep hitting them with something that makes them bleed a lot, they eventually hemorrhage out and lose a lot of life. Up here you have a... Oh, I'm getting hit. Yeah, this is one of the giants. It's so funny because, like, I had no experience with this game before. I'd never really played the Souls games other than Dark Souls 3 and giving up on it. These sort of huge monsters were so, like, I don't know, maybe I just got absorbed into it, like, right away. But I saw this dude over on a cliff, like, when I first started playing this, and I was like, oh my god, that thing's huge. And it's, like, disemboweled and, like, really, really scary. Like, it does look, like, pretty nightmarish, you know? Like, you gotta hand it to the game's creators for coming up with something that's scary. And this thing is such a low level, like, I mean, granted, I am very powerful, but I'm killing it in, like, 3 hits here, but, you know, everything is really, really terrifying looking in it. Really morbid. You know, I recommend, like, even if, like, you're not into video games and you're just into, like, horror and metal and stuff, like, if you're really bored, or you want to put something on in the background, like while you listen to records, just put in like a playthrough with this, because it's visually just gorgeous. All right, Brutal Truth. Second one, what's it called? Kill Trend Suicide. I should remember. This came out, I think, when I was in 11th grade, 10th grade. This is when Brutal Truth started getting weird really quickly. This is their first record for Relapse, if I'm not mistaken, after they left Earache. And I bought Need to Control as well. I think I listened to that a few times while playing this too. And it's they got real weird real fast. You know, you had Extreme Conditions, which is like just death grind perfection, you know. That and Utopia Banished to me is like the perfect marriage of lyrics that are actually about something. You have that grindcore bass, but very well recorded, kind of almost like abbreviated death metal. World Downfall by Terrorizers up there as well. You know, like when I think of pure grind, I think of Napalm Death and Fear of God and stuff like that. That's kind of noisy and cacophonous, you know. When I think of early Brutal Truth and host Lee Dorian, Napalm Death, and Terrorizer, I think of stuff that's kind of just as much death metal. And then Brutal Truth really strayed away from that pretty quickly, and it's taken me a long time to come around to it, just because Extreme Conditions is such a riff fest and so perfect. I just wanted that record again, like one more time, or something kind of similar to it. And even with Need to Control, they get real weird real fast. But now I'm starting to appreciate their weird stuff a little bit more. I picked up Sounds of the Animal Kingdom, and it's all very cool, but to me, I almost have to think of it as like a different band, you know? All right, that's all the tapes. This is going to get more challenging because I have to show off LPs now. My better half, Amanda, got me the new Crowbar for my birthday, 0 and Below. Got the LP here, which I'm sure she paid out the nose if this is on Century Media? No, E1. At any rate, it's the new Crowbar. It sounds like Crowbar. With Crowbar, I'll always be a self-titled Crowbar record guy as my go-to record. I have a bunch of their other stuff now. I like Oddfellows Rest. I like a lot of other stuff by them. I could pretty much pick up any of their records and be happy with it, you know? Just that combination of like really heavy sludge, really good quality riffs, and Kurt Weinstein's almost more hardcore vocal approach is will always just hit the spot for me. I know they're not a band for everybody. This new one's really good, you know, but it's not reinventing anything, but it is fantastic. Not too much else to say other than that. I also got the Stargazer Demos compilation here. It's a demo and a 7-inch, so probably their earliest stuff, I'm assuming. Also great. Very, very chromy. Just, you know, they really haven't evolved that much from this. This isn't super simplistic or anything. It's really not too dissimilar from their full lengths. It's just that weird, twisted yet really, really engaging kind of, you know, cosmic death metal stuff that they did on their latest one. Thought that was quite good. Always wanted to hear this because I really like Goatlord. It's the Doom Snake Cult reissue on NWN, Love, Sorrow, Doom. This is cool. It's a little bit more of a straightforward kind of thing than what Goatlord was doing. A little bit more doom metal, a little bit more psychedelic. A little bit better, a lot better recorded for that matter. Yeah, it's a cool record. Spun it a bunch. Doomy. Death metal stuff. Good job with the reissue, of course. A little while ago, there was some discussion on Heavy Metallurgy about Solitude Aeturnus. I saw this in a distro somewhere on sale, so I thought I'd pick it up. It's In Times of Solitude. It's a compilation of demo stuff and some pretty raw live recordings. It's good. I mean, as a kind of a Solitude Aeturnus super fan, not a super duper super fan, just a super fan that has most of their records and really enjoys everything that they've done. It's cool to hear, especially because as much as I like all their records, Into the Depths of Sorrow will probably always be my favorite. Let's sneak up on this guy. Oh, He heard me. Oh well, he's dead. And it's cool to hear their beginnings. The vocal chops really weren't there yet, unfortunately, on these recordings, but it's still kind of cool as an artifact just to check out. Let's see if I can get it. Where can I get into some trouble up here? Yeah, let's go to the weird city here. Yeah, so it's cool. It's mostly for completists only, I'd say. Or at least check out the demo online and see if it's your cup of tea, because it's pretty raw. And we got this Cardiac Arrest LP. Morgue Mutilations. Cardiac Arrest is pretty rad. They are a bunch of older dudes from Chicago, if you didn't know. Very just straightforward, raw death metal stuff. No frills. Great fucking riffs. Just fun without being fucking corny. Death metal shit. This is a great album. It isn't their latest, I don't believe. I bought their latest when it came out a few years ago. That one's also excellent. Not too dissimilar in sound, and I view that as a positive, you know. Not a big departure. That guy just killed me. The Knights are bastards in this. Then I got this live Filth record. This is cool. Live at Gilman. February 28th, 1992. 100% of the proceeds from this record will go directly to Berkeley Needle Exchange Emergency Distribution. Yeah, because I'm sure several members of this band had some addiction issues going on. If you don't know Filth, it's classic US crust punk stuff. The UK crust bands, the early ones especially, were a lot more metal than bands like Filth. Bands like Filth and Ass Rash from Minneapolis and a host of others were pretty influenced by a lot of street punk and oi and stuff like that. Filth did have inhuman, like, larynx scraping kind of vocals, almost like Blaine from The Accused with a bad hangover or something like that. And they occasionally had, like, almost sort of metallic moments, but their music was very loose. I don't know if it was that can be attributed to them not being great at their instruments, or maybe they were just drunk or something on the recordings. But the riffs are there and the songs are there, and the looseness of the music adds something to it if you're into that sort of thing. I wouldn't expect, like, you know, Blind Guardian or something like that. And then finally, something I listened to on a nice walk in the woods today. Great music for that. It's the new Nechochwen. Somewhere in my brain I knew it was pronounced Nechochwen. And I just watched Ben's update, and I was like, oh yeah, I said that wrong the whole time. So, Nechochwen, Nechochwen, Nechochwen. Thank you. Kanawha Black. Or is it Kanawha Black? I am not doing great with the album pronunciations. This is probably my favorite thing by Nechochwen yet. Nechochwen. I definitely enjoy most of the bands on Bindrune. I love Panopticon, you know, Falls Auroros are great. If I had a gun to my head and had to pick my favorite Bindrune band, it would probably be Nechochwen. Nechochwen. They just have a good sense of dynamics. I mean, all those bands do, but specifically their riff style has a little bit more of like a melodic thrash and classic heavy metal kind of influence going on. I even felt and sensed a little bit of almost kind of like snaky Tin Lizzy going on this new one. The mellow moments are really great. The acoustic stuff, the atmospheric kind of acoustic stuff is wonderful. They've always had that in spades as well. And the clean vocals on this are great. Super soaring clean vocals. Something they've always had as well, but I feel like they're particularly well executed on this. Who's this dude? Is this one of those duelist guys? Oh yeah. I'm gonna kill you, oh yeah. Kill you every day. Let's see, what do I get? Ooh, okay. So the purple thing's on here. That means it's something good. I got a Great Axe. I got some Greaves. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything. I had some more stuff that I listened to, but I didn't want to go quite overboard with that, you know. I'm just kind of experimenting with this whole playing and showing stuff off. I mean, this might come out like a total abortion. It is what it is. Oh, another duelist. But I wanted to talk about the game and, you know, show all you fine folks out there what I've been up to for the past half a year, or however it's been. I think, when did I get this? I want to say I was playing it while listening to Crowbar, and that was around my birth, so since April or something. And I've gotten kind of burnt out. I hit a wall with this, where just like, at a certain point, you either want to keep fighting the same boss over and over again, or you don't. And what's nice about this is you don't have to keep trying to perfectly time out, you know, your dodges and everything. You can go around and explore and build up your character. You can grind, which is also another thing that kind of appealed to me because, you know, I am old enough to say that I played the first 2 or 3 Dragon Warrior games and a lot of old Final Fantasy games. And this is the kind of the equivalent of that. You can go around and beat lower level characters just for fun until your guy gets built up and gets more powerful, and it's easier to kill the tough baddies. And it's not really, I mean, you can do that sort of in the Souls games, I guess, but you have to just keep repeating the same part over and over again. It seems like that anyway. With here, you can go wherever you want. Sometimes it's not advisable, like that burnt red landscape there, Caelid, that I was at earlier. You can go there almost like right away, and it's not great. Like you die pretty much instantly unless you're amazing at this game. And that's kind of the other cool thing is, if you're familiar with the Souls games and you know the controls and you know the timing and stuff, I think like for a lot of people that are into those games, this was like kind of a cakewalk for some people. I saw a lot of criticisms about how like the bosses were like insanely hard on a few occasions, and you kind of had to have like one of the cheats like you can summon different types of guys to help you and stuff like that at certain points. You have these things called spirit ashes that you can summon, like I'll show you. You know, obviously people that have played this are like, I know. You can turn it off. I'm just gonna talk to other boomers about cool stuff in this game. But let's see. Inventory. So these are spirit ashes. You can summon all these different guys to fight for you, like knights and warriors. There's a lizard guy here. You can summon like armies. Like this is a bunch of like goofy skeletons with like big shields. Got some gargoyles here. You know, stuff like that. That's pretty cool. But I guess the argument was like some of these bosses are so hard that they're kind of engineered so you have to have like one of these things that hardcore players consider cheating kind of employed to actually beat them, which I don't care about that sort of thing. I like having the ghosts fight next to me. That's rad. Why wouldn't I want a ghost fighting next to me, you know? But for people that are serious about the whole Souls franchise, I guess it was considered kind of a departure. It is pretty refreshing too, because I'm not a big gamer, but I did play through Elder Scrolls as opposed to Elden Ring. The names are very close together. I'll have to watch this through and see if I called this the wrong thing at certain points. But I played Elder Scrolls Tamriel Unlimited, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. And it was very fun, but it does definitely tell you and hold your hand every step of the way where to go. There's a very busy map with all kinds of like compasses and stuff kind of littering the screen. And it's just kind of nice to have some mystery. Like if you get really stuck, you can look up where stuff is, like online. There's wikis and all kinds of other shit, like if you don't know where to go, you know. It's nice to just kind of get lost in the game and, you know, figure out little mysteries on your own and that sort of thing. And the plot itself is crazy. There's a lot of deep mythology with it, and just like warring demigods that are all kind of the part of the same incestuous family, which is, you know, makes sense because I guess a lot of the lore was written by George R.R. Martin, Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's just a gorgeous, well put together, engaging game, and it ate my life for a couple months, and I couldn't have been happier about that. You know, and I'll probably check out, I want something new to play after I beat this, if I beat this. I want to check out that new, there's another Elder Scrolls game that just came out, but I feel like it's just not going to be the same after playing this. This is so gorgeous, but I am stuck right now, and I haven't really played regularly in a few weeks. I got to this last boss, and it's really hard. So my choices are bash my head against like learning the boss's mechanics over and over again for hours, or for hours go around and level up my guy by killing weaker people. And I'm not really even fighting anything, so this probably isn't that fun to watch. So why don't I put a pin in this? Stop playing this. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you thought of this, folks. I'd like to maybe do gaming content. I don't know. It's something that is definitely, there's a wealth of it on YouTube. I don't know if society needs another another white dude talking about fucking video games, but maybe from a metal perspective it might be cool. I wouldn't mind doing more retro games, old school games, something like that at some point. But I specifically just wanted to talk about my soundtrack for this amazing game. So that's what I did, warts and all. So, all right, that's it. And I can't stop this. I have to stop the game. As usual, if you like what you saw and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, like, comments, all that happy horse shit. Thanks for watching.